under Labour, no one ventures. And friends, if no one ventures, no one else gains. And that's why the economy foundered for years. And it's not only the economy. We said a council tenant should be able to buy his own home. They too should have the chance to be freeholders, heirs to Runnymede. But Labour can't stomach it. They'd stop all council house sales at present prices. They'd take away the discounts you get for years of rent paying. And they'd allow local councils to stop sales altogether. But that's not enough for them. They'd fix a fetter on the freehold of the people who've already bought. They'd limit your power to sell what is yours. They'd limit your freehold. Do you remember Kipling's famous verse? At Runnymede, your rights were won at Runnymede. No freeman shall be fined or bound or dispossessed of freehold ground. Well, he would under Labour. Are they suggesting we borrow even more and allow interest rates to rise still further? The right honourable gentleman seemed to know the answer a year ago. In that same speech he said, what would be the result of a small increase in the quantity of money financing very large wage settlements of 20 or 30%? There could only be one result. The weakest firms would go to the wall and there'd be more unemployment. In addition, instead of easing interest rates, the country would be faced with a further tightening. The same holds true today, but for reasons of his own, the right honourable gentleman chooses to ignore his own warnings. And on defence, the people can depend on we Conservatives. It was Dennis Healey who, as usual, gave Labour's game away. He told us that the Kremlin are praying for a Labour victory. Well, who could blame them? Think what a lot of trouble it would save them. Now, Mr. Speaker, the opposition accuse us of being uncaring when we cut back certain spending programmes. Of course, there are many things we would like to do in the social field, but they can't all be done until we have a stronger economy. Yet, Mr. Speaker, we did provide for the pensioners' Christmas bonus last year. Moreover, we've introduced legislation to ensure it's paid annually. But in 1975 and 1976, there was no Christmas bonus for pensioners under Labour. Unlike the Labour government, we did abolish tax on war widows' pensions. Spending on the health service is not declining, and accusations that it is come ill from the party which between 1974 and 1979 decided to close over 250 hospitals. For 40 years, every government of this country, of every political persuasion, has understood the need for strong defences by maintaining and modernising Britain's independent nuclear deterrent, by membership of the NATO alliance based on nuclear deterrence, and by accepting and bearing in full the obligations which membership brings. All this was common ground. Last week, Mr. President, the Labour Party abandoned that ground. In a decision of the utmost gravity, Labour voted to give up Britain's independent nuclear deterrent unilaterally. Labour would also require the United States to remove its nuclear weapons from our soil and to close down its nuclear bases. weapons and bases which are vital, not only for Britain's defence, but for the defence of the entire Atlantic Alliance. Furthermore, Labour would remove Britain altogether from the protection of America's nuclear umbrella, leaving us totally unable to deter a nuclear attack. For you cannot deter with conventional weapons an enemy which has and could threaten to use nuclear weapons. Exposed to the threat of nuclear blackmail, there would be no option but surrender. Labour's defence policy, though defence is scarcely the word, is an absolute break with the defence policy of every British government since the Second World War. Let there be no doubt about the gravity of that decision. You can't be a loyal member of NATO while disavowing its fundamental strategy. Feelings were the origins of the government's employment bill now going through the House. It will no doubt be vigorously opposed by some trade union leaders, by the militants and the party opposite, but not by the rank and file trade unionists. Not by the overwhelming majority of the British people. Last week at Bournemouth, the Labour Party voted to scrap the laws which give union members a secret ballot and to hand back to the leaders, those barons of the bloc vote, their former feudal powers. They voted to give up the British independent nuclear deterrent for nothing in return. They voted to take political control over the operations of the police. They voted to indemnify councils and trade unions who choose to break the law for political ends. Anything else? Oh, I've hardly started. Here are some Labour policies for the next general election in 2 or 3 years' time. They would nationalise and renationalise our industry with scant regard for the newly acquired shares of employees. There would be no automatic right to buy your own council house. Decisions would be left to Labour councils like Sheffield, Hackney and Camden, and you can imagine what sort of a deal you'd get from them. And Labour would hijack and direct the pension and insurance fund money of some 12 million people. Independent schools would go, and quickly. There would be the usual mishmash of higher taxes, and I need hardly say, higher borrowing. To borrow and to borrow and to borrow is not Macbeth with a heavy cold, it is Labour Party policy.